No. Hello again and welcome to another instalment of DLTV on the Fringe from DigiCon 15. We have our second keynote from the event with us today, Celia Coffa, and she shared a really powerful and personal adventure and story, not just with her own use of technology for learning, but also stories about your mother as well. And even though you were incredibly nervous, you did a fabulous job. It was really powerful.
I think it was a message that a lot of people related to. Some of us sort of stage in our lives when our parents are getting older, and we kind of switched from being children and partners to being carers for parents.
It's also a stage where you become very aware of what you can lose.
Yes. Yeah.
And trying to be careful to curate so you don't lose everything. So some people are lucky they have something written, but not everybody has something written. So if we only have pictures, keeping them, but keeping the story behind them is the most important part. And in the digital world, I think that's a bit more challenging.
Yeah, and that was certainly one of the key messages I got was, you know, we're so busy creating and putting stuff out there, but we don't necessarily take the time to curate things and put them into a lasting format. So the notion of, you know what, these 10 photos from this year of my life are so super important. I'm going to print them out and store them in something tangible that I know won't rely on this particular technology to read it, that my kids will be able to, you know, have.
I know that in the back of people's head, when I said about curating and having things on paper, people can say, well, your house can burn down or you can have a flood and can damage as well. But nevertheless, I still think that being able to pick something up and turn it over and
there's something special
about it, and perhaps it will be provocative at a digital teaching, digital learning meeting to suggest that maybe the tangible is better.
Yeah. We've talked in Victoria, we have bushfires that threaten our homes, about the kind of things we want to preserve, and a lot of people talk about the idea of going out and grabbing the photo album or the wedding album.
It's the first thing they say, isn't it? The list of things to grab will be the photo album.
Because those memories are really important to us, and it's often what comes from those memories that make it useful. I remember my mother going through some old family photographs and saying, I don't know who that one is. I don't know who that one is. Oh yeah, that's your great uncle XYZ.
And that'll be the one you'll keep, and you'll keep thinking about it because it has the story associated. But otherwise, it could be anybody.
What happens when we don't have the story? We've got the image, but we don't know the context of when it was taken.
And in the digital world, if you've got something in your Flickr account or on your Google Drive, how are you annotating that? How are you putting the tags on it to make that information then transferred?
Or is it just there and you have thousands of things to go through and you think, oh, how do I find that image that was kind of from around this time?
Oh, that's where Google comes in, because now you can stalk your location, your geotag, your facial recognition.
And that's all very well for now. Is that still going to be okay in 100 years?
Yeah, true.
Because look at, I said JPEGs. Okay, everyone knows what one is now. Is that going to last? Because I've got those files on Mum's computer that are in an old, I've forgotten the name of the program, but Word won't open them.
Oh, see,
and that's in 10 years' time. We've already lost that.
Yes, that's true. And I must admit that my father tried to make a PowerPoint slideshow, but then even that's moved a generation ahead now.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I wonder how we can find a format that's going to be open, that anyone can kind of use and can capture and share that information.
So I hope it's the developers and all those people thinking about that, not just us. But
I know there is the ODT standard, which is an open standard that's used for the LibreOffice software suite, and I know you can do that with Google Docs. I like to think that another issue of that digital decay is that losing that context, because the story that you shared to me about your mother made sense because we had some words to go with those pictures. And that's more powerful than just having the picture itself, isn't it? That you can give a place. Do you want to explain a bit about that?
Just that if I just put that picture up and didn't say Mum's the little one, it could have just been any picture I found on the internet. And without knowing, me telling that story has more power when there's a personal side to it. Sorry, the coffee just dropped.
Our caffeine is deconstructed. We'll have to refuel.
The right spot, it's just a matter of the power of how the artifacts you keep are strong. Yeah. And museums do that beautifully, don't they? They don't just have an item there. They have an item there with a story as to its purpose or where it comes from. And I just think perhaps in our personal lives we can do a bit more of that. And having just been through that process, it's struck home.
Is it as simple as perhaps collecting an audio recording that when you go through that photo album with your parents?
In what format?
Exactly, you could do it now. You could do it now, but is it going to last? That's the question. You know, I know that the old photos, some of them fade away and all the rest, but they're still there 100 years later. Will any of our current metadata be available 100 years later?
I'm going to record it on my wax roll. That's right, yes.
Now, one of the other things I really liked about what you shared, I don't know what you're doing.
Speaking to the cone.
Was the sharing your adventure, becoming more connected from an e-learning type of perspective. One of the projects you actually showed was Through My Window. And same thing, the images you showed with the drawn image and the photograph, just seeing those, you don't get the full picture.
No.
But yeah, do you want to tell us a bit about that project for those that weren't here?
Okay. So the Through My Window project was about 8 years ago, so it's nothing new. And it was started from a Department of New South Wales project, I think. And it was as simple as students from different parts in different schools, each writing a written descriptive piece of writing about a scene outside their classroom window. And the context was that they needed to try and use the best, it was a writing activity, use the best narrative and the best descriptive language they could find. Because another group of children are going to read that description, draw what they imagine, what it looked like, and then compare it to the reality of the photo. So it was really a writing activity. And it was a writing activity where it's introduced language like foreground, background, all sorts of adjectives and everything that's necessary. So it was a very simple writing activity, but it worked because they were writing because someone else was going to read it. And they had to write so much detail.
Yeah, I was thinking at first you'd probably say, you know, there was a tree, and there's a, playground. And then you wouldn't have any information on where would I put that in my drawing.
So these kids were only grade 3 and 4. They needed to learn what a foreground, what the background was, and trying to imagine it without being able to see it with their words.
And because it was such a big project, you might have had some of those. It was global.
No, this one was just Australian schools. We did it in a couple of city schools and country schools.
Yeah, but there must have been a difference of language even from that context as well.
And even just a difference of content. So one of them was a country school which had a big water tank. In those days, our school didn't have one.
Yeah.
So there was a chook shed in the school in rural Victoria. So it was perspective gaining also for the kids that all their schools are not the same. And they described our ugly scene with that horrible wood fence and the roofs over the thing and the asphalt ground. Comparing that to the country scene, it was very different. So it was a really, really simple idea, but very powerful.
Yep.
And do you think the kids got the message that that language can convey a story? And
sure they did. And you could just tell by the looks on their faces. And they also used it, and it would be a good thing to go back and revisit because they used it to realise what they had missed in their descriptions.
Yes.
And it was, we didn't tell them that wasn't there, so they didn't draw it. So it was a really powerful learning. Lots of teachable moments out of that.
I remember I was scanning some of the photos for my father, and one of them, he looked at me and said, "You got this one wrong." And I thought I'd done a really good job cleaning up the crinkled edges of the photo and doing all my little Photoshop magic. And he said, "Go back to the original," which I did. He said, "Okay, lighten this up. Can you see what I'm wearing?" I said, "Oh yeah, you're wearing a uniform." "Yeah, I was on national service." "Can you see what's on the ground? You took it out." And I sort of highlighted it. "Oh, it's some sort of shaped leaves?" He said, "No, it's a love heart. It's for your mother. It's when I proposed to her."
Oh my goodness.
And so basically,
that needed to be in the photo.
Exactly.
He took that away.
Otherwise, it would have been just another photo of Dad grinning, with a silly grin, and it was one.
Now you know why.
Yeah, he made it. He made it
He deserved the grin.
Yeah. And his son was airbrushing out, the whole of these.
That romantic story.
Yeah, it happens. Do you think that there's some scope for teachers to look at telling students the value of digital history and being able to capture it and record it now?
Definitely, and our kids today are at Southern Hill, so they're doing a whole history unit, and we're going to follow the Museum Victoria suggested the little object big story project, where they find an artifact from their families and they get the story behind it and they record that in some way. It might be a video, it might be some other sort of record. So I think it's an important thing that kids start to learn to be able to curate that stuff themselves. So answer that question.
And then thinking of the challenge.
Yes.
What are the different formats I can record it in so that I can sort of save this? Maybe.
Yeah, and I don't think any of us have the answers. Maybe the developers around the place might have the answers.
Or there may be a bit of a composite of answers, like an ODT format, a PDF, and a plain text
Or
format.
even just as simple as like how we've got old Word files,
Yeah.
open them and save them in the new format.
And then where to store
We
it
do that
too.
and all that.
I remember when I was working at the Melbourne Museum, one of the lessons was take out the staples, and the staples rust,
Yeah.
and you don't want them. Sellotape goes all funny. But
No, like my niece works at the Parliamentary Library in Canberra, and
Yeah.
one of her jobs at the beginning was digitising all their Hansard or some sort of documents. I forgot what they were, but so the governments and stuff are doing it, but I still wonder about those files and being digitised. Are they going to last? I don't know.
Not me thinking.
Good, that was what I wanted to do.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I think
But don't have the answers.
well, it's not about having the answers, isn't it? Unless you are developing that awesome format/app or way of living our lives that contain forever.
Yeah.
So we'll do that tomorrow, maybe, in your spare
No,
time.
there'll be some of the students in places like this.
Are you enjoying the
Definitely.
conference?
I am, yes, now especially.
Yes, you can relax a
Now
little
I'm
bit.
post I'm much happier.
You did a fabulous job. Is there
Thank you.
any final bit of advice you'd like to give to people, maybe, because you had that message of building connections, how to get started with that?
Just don't be afraid to share your story,
Yep.
wherever it is. It doesn't have to be digitally,
It's a
but
good
if
message.
it is, it's a good one.
Yep.
Because with that comes, you get more when you give.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's really risky and scary to share.
But with that will
Correct.
come trust, and from that will come growth.
And
In some
hopefully
ways,
not
like social
trust
media is a
us.
really good way to do that from an introvert's point of view.
Yes, I
because-
relate to that.
Standing up there today was not me.
Yep.
Whereas I can sit and write a blog post and contemplate and think about that publish button for a long time and hover over
Yes.
it and hover over it again and change a few things. So it's a good place for all types to be able to do that.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for sharing your story and for having a chance to grow and to cry a little bit with you and to laugh and smile and think. Yeah, it's a message resonated very strongly for me. Thank you.
And
Thanks,
lovely
Rob.
to see you in real life after following your tweets.
It looks just like her avatar.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Oh.
Okay, well, stay tuned for more adventures.
Now you
Thank
have
you
to.
very much. Oh, wait, we have to
You have to hold
pose.
the
This is
banana.
a thing. Banana Gate.
Oh.
It's a thing.
Okay, so ready?
Yes.
What are we doing?
We pointed at the screen and we say engage.
Do we?
Engage?
Engage, yes.
Do we? You might.
Engage.
Banana.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.